Almost 3 weeks after the opening of the much-talked-about new hospitals, there is lots of skepticism surrounding the services of the new hospitals, and News 4 has details of two of those cases which involved persons seeking medical services at the hospital here in Providenciales. The first one was O'Neill Cartwright, who got out of bed early this morning expecting to be seen by a dentist, who he was told would be available today, Monday, April 26th, but to his surprise, no one was able to assist him.
Well, the lady at the reception didn't know what's going on, so I had to tell her off, and then one of the pale boys came in and assisted me and took me in there to speak with another man at the dental clinic, and they started to tell me the real truth, that they're not ready. They're trying to get here now, the local people, and the dental clinic that is connected with this hospital, they don't even know when that's going to be ready because they do not have the equipment. They're not ready at all. Yes, they say 26, Saturday, the 26th of April, which is today, and none of them, not even the locals, they're not ready.
In the middle of the interview with Cartwright, a security guard came out of the hospital with what seems to be a patient's blood work in his left hand, and as you can see here in this clip, asked our cameras to leave public property. News 4 questioned this action, and it was explained by the medical official following the security guard that the reason for no cameras was for security of patients who are and will be in and out. News 4 left the scene. Murick Campbell of Five Keys is also not happy with the services he received from the hospital over the weekend either. Campbell took his sick baby, Morley Campbell, who has a serious cough and lung condition, to be tested by the doctors.
And whilst they run the test on him, he started to cough. And because the cough was the problem, because before that he had a lung infection, and we took him to the Mount Rigby Health Complex, and like about 2 months ago, and basically looked like the after effect came back with a hard cough. When he coughed, it's like thunder, and he just won't stop, and he'd be choking.
Campbell said that after the doctor did a thorough check on baby Morley, he was given medication by the nurse and was told to return immediately if the coughing continues. Campbell explains.
So it happens that, but 5 or 6 hours after, because this was like basically around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, but 5 hours after. So maybe say, but 1:30, something like that, 12 o'clock, 12:31, somewhere around there. I get to take the baby back to the clinic because my mommy called me and told me, come quick, the baby choking and, something wrong with the baby. So I get back to the clinic and I try to tell the doctor, I think you need to submit the baby in the hospital because something wrong. The baby just choking and coughing and kicking off in a siege. So the doctor take the spatula again and put it on his back and put it on his chest and say, oh, there's nothing wrong with the baby is okay. And I was like, no, I think there's a problem.
Campbell told our cameras that the doctor who assisted him earlier was no longer there. He said he was mistreated by the doctor who was on duty and says that at 1:30 in the morning, with his sick child in hand, he feared and questioned his child's current condition. Campbell explained the full conversation between him and the doctor.
And so after about 10 minutes or so, when I came back, the security come get me, say, come, the doctor needs to talk to me. So when I get to the door, and I basically meet the doctor to the door, and I tell him, yes, sir, what's up? And he say, oh, you need to take this baby home because ain't nothing wrong with this baby. And I was like, the doctor talking to me like that? I say, so what happened? He say, there's nothing wrong with the baby, and it seems like the family don't understand that, so just take the baby home. I say, no, I can't take the baby home. I tell him because I'm not a doctor. And he basically like, what you mean you're not a doctor? That's not a responsibility. If the doctor already deal with you and tell you there's nothing wrong with the baby, there's nothing wrong with the baby. I say, well, doctor, I tell you the truth, I don't feel it's safe to take the baby home because basically the baby have a big problem, and if something happened, if this baby should die tonight, would you be responsible? Why don't you write me a letter stating that basically if this baby died or he have a problem tonight, you're responsible? And he told me no. So when he told me no, one of my sisters came there, and she's a school teacher, and she listened to the conversation we was having, and she basically told the doctor, no, that's not right. Say doctors don't carry on like that. Say you can't be a doctor and you acting like that. That's not professional.
Even after this conversation, trying to get the doctor to accept his wheezing baby and proof of a letter from a private medical doctor that the child should be submitted, Campbell said the doctor still would not take his sick child into consideration.
And the doctor say, well, basically, he not submitting the baby in the hospital. And I say, well, this hospital ain't here for people, eh? Who this hospital here for? I say, the baby's sick. This is a 4-month-old baby. How you going to not submit a 4-month-old baby in the hospital when a private doctor already say the baby need to be there for about 3 days? And plus a chest x-ray. And he never get the chest x-ray.
But he did not take no for an answer. Campbell says he and his family members spoke to a nurse who he says seemed much more concerned than the doctor, and finally baby Morley was submitted for further monitoring.
There was another white lady, she was getting off from work because she's a nurse or something, and she was listening to the conversation, and she stated that, yes, you're right, you know, I think the baby should be submitted in the hospital, because if something should happen tonight, if the baby have a seizure, he choke or whatever, you don't know how to handle the situation, so basically you should have the baby sleep overnight at least. And she ran in the back and she talked to somebody, and basically they tell her, okay, come submit the baby to the hospital, because that doctor is just out of order. And I don't even think he's a doctor, the way he carry on.
Baby Morley was released the next day, but Campbell says he and his son will be traveling to the United States for further checkups because he is still not pleased with the service he was given. Baby Morley still suffers from a horrible cough, and still no x-ray or comforting words from the doctors were given. Medical officers at the new hospital said News 4 should refer our queries to the Ministry of Health, and up to broadcast time, no comment was given from that department. For WIV4 News, I'm Amanda Miller.